Mikel Arteta just built Europe's scariest midfield.
Bruno Guimarães, superb.
It's Rice. What a goal! Ødegaard! Brilliant!
And the Premier League should be worried. Arsenal were already champions. Most clubs would have stood still. Instead, Arteta went after the one player capable of making an elite midfield almost impossible to play against: Bruno Guimarães.
He just fits the bill so perfectly.
Put him alongside Declan Rice, Martin Zubimendi, Martin Ødegaard and Eberechi Eze. Suddenly, Arsenal don't just have quality, they have an answer for almost every tactical problem in football.
I just think he'd be a fantastic fit for Arsenal's central midfield.
Press them and they'll play through you. Sit deep and they'll dominate possession. Open the game up and they'll punish you in transition. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Bruno Guimarães isn't just another big signing. He's the final piece that could turn Arsenal into Europe's most complete team.
They're in the business at the moment of winning titles, racking up numerous trophies, creating a dynasty.
Here's where things stand. Guimaraes is 28. The medical is pending, and the fee sits somewhere between 70 and 80 million pounds, depending on which reporter you trust.
So realistically, Bruno Guimarães, 60 million, goes for 75 in this market. That's probably about right. And ultimately, can Arsenal afford it? Yes.
David Ornstein has said all parties want this closed out, and the deal is on course for completion. That phrase alone tells you this isn't a maybe anymore.
Anyone who's trying to hate on the deal, having little hopes that it was going to collapse, it ain't collapsing, bro.
Now, look at it from Newcastle's side for a second. This is their captain. He's played almost 200 games for the club and dragged them to their first trophy in decades. But the project up there has stalled without Champions League football. And PSR rules mean the books have to balance whether the fans like it or not. Selling their best player isn't a choice they wanted. It's the one finances forced on them.
Newcastle United's financial constraints are too severe for them to turn down an offer in the region of 80 million quid.
And there's a strange twist buried in this. Newcastle spent years building their entire identity around Guimarães, the heartbeat of the team, the one player they couldn't afford to lose.
He is everything to that Newcastle team. He is the heartbeat. He is the leader. He is the tonic. He is the conduit between the fans and the players.
Now they're losing him anyway, and not to some club overseas. He's walking straight into the team that just knocked everyone else off the top of the table. This also tells you something about how Arsenal operate under Arteta. They don't hunt for discounts. They pick the exact player they want and pay whatever number gets it done.
Is it a player that's going to improve Arsenal's midfield? Yes. There is no overpriced, there is a price, and you pay it or you don't.
Compare that to the rest of the market this summer. Elliot Anderson went for over 100 million. Morgan Rogers got linked at 120 million for a player with a fraction of Guimaraes' Premier League output. Suddenly, 70 to 80 million for a proven captain who's played almost 200 top-flight games doesn't look expensive at all. It looks like the cheapest quality signing of the window, so the fee makes sense on paper. But a transfer only means something once the player is actually out there on the pitch, and that's where this signing either becomes special or turns into an expensive squad player, collecting dust on the bench. Watch Guimarães get the ball in a crowded midfield and you'll see the thing that actually sets him apart. He receives it with two players closing him down, spins out of trouble in one motion, and finds a pass forward before the pressure even fully arrives.
Some of the passes that he's made in the last season, outside of the boot passes, breaking lines, and then timing in the final third.
That's not something Arsenal's deeper midfielders always managed last season. Too often in tight physical games, the ball went sideways or backwards when it needed to go forward. Guimarães doesn't play that way. He treats pressure as a puzzle to solve, not a problem to avoid.
He's the one that does those line-breaking passes. He's the one that gets those passes into the final third. He's the one that drops in between the two defenders and finds either the left or the right, finds lines, do switches.
Think about what that does to teams trying to stop Arsenal now. If you press Guimaraes and Zubimendi at the same time, you're committing bodies high up the pitch, and that leaves gaps behind your midfield line for Arsenal to exploit. Sit off instead, don't press either of them, and now Arsenal just get to dictate the tempo with two players who can break both lines with a single pass. There's no clean answer for opponents here. Every choice they make just hands Arsenal a different kind of advantage. And Guimaraes isn't just about the pass either. Last season, he scored 9 Premier League goals despite missing 2 months through injury. Stretch that out across a full campaign, and it's a genuinely serious number for a central midfielder.
Newcastle's top scorer last season with 9 goals. I think he missed 2 months of the season with injury.
Zoom out further, and over his last 3 seasons combined, he's been involved in more than 40 goals and assists. That's not a squad player padding his stats in cup games, that's a starter who shows up in the moments that actually matter. Now, put him next to Declan Rice and the picture gets clearer.
You're putting him next to Declan Rice now, in a team that is already so protected defensively too. For me, this is a slam, it's a home run of a signing.
Rice brings physicality, ball winning, and a habit of arriving late into the box to finish moves off. Guimaraes brings vertical passing and tighter combination play in areas where Rice isn't naturally comfortable. These two skill sets don't overlap, they cover each other. Where Rice might have to slow the play down and reset, Guimaraes can thread it through immediately. Where Guimaraes might get out-muscled in a physical battle, Rice cleans it up behind him.
Declan Rice and Bruno Guimarães is such a nasty two-man step in midfield that even thinking about it makes me shiver. No one wants to go to the Emirates and play Bruno G and Declan Rice.
It's the kind of pairing that looks obvious once you see it, but almost nobody actually has it. There's a leadership piece to this too. And it's easy to overlook. Guimaraes is a Brazil international and Newcastle's captain, which means he doesn't need managing into big moments. He's already lived through relegation battles, European nights, and pressure cooker fixtures where the whole club needed him to perform. Arsenal aren't getting a talented kid who needs 3 years to adjust to the demands of the Premier League. They're getting someone who's already been the man in the room during a crisis. And here's the part that might matter most over a full season. Rice and Zubimendi both played over 4,000 minutes last year. That's an enormous workload. And by March, it starts to show in small ways. A step slower to close a gap, a pass that's a fraction late. Arsenal never really had a genuine like-for-like replacement waiting on the bench when either of them needed a rest. Now, they do.
I think that Arsenal need reinforcements in the middle. And when you talk about Bruno Guimarães, what you're signing is elite. What you're signing is Premier League proven. What you are actually signing is perfect.
Guimaraes isn't a drop-off option. He's a third player at the same level, which means Arteta can actually rotate without weakening the team. Something that becomes critical once Champions League football stacks up alongside a title defense. None of this works if you just look at Guimaraes on his own though. A great midfielder dropped into the wrong shape can still get wasted. So the real question now is how all 5 of these pieces, Rice, Guimarães, Zubimendi, Ødegaard and Eze, actually fit together on the same pitch at the same time. There are 2 obvious ways Arteta could set this up. One option is Zubimendi sitting as a lone 6, with Rice and Guimarães both pushed up as dual 8s ahead of him. The other is a double pivot of Rice and Guimarães together, with a single free 8 operating in the space in front.
You can put him in different combinations and Arsenal still look good, just because of what he can bring.
Both versions solve different problems, and Arteta now has the personnel to switch between them depending on the opponent. Look at what this does for Ødegaard specifically. For most of last season, he had to drop deep fairly often just to help the team collect the ball and start moves. With 2 players behind him who can already progress the ball through pressure, that responsibility mostly disappears. Ødegaard gets to stay higher, operate in that right half space he loves, and focus purely on the final third, third. Instead of splitting his attention between build-up and creation, Eze benefits in a similar but different way. With two genuine ball progressors sitting deeper, he doesn't need to drift inside to help build attacks the way wide creators often do when their midfield can't move the ball forward alone. Instead, Eze can stay higher and wider on the left, attack fullbacks directly, and win one-on-one battles instead of getting dragged into build-up play he doesn't need to be involved in. Here's the problem this creates for whoever Arsenal are playing against. There's no obvious weak point to target anymore. All three central options, Rice, Guimaraes, and Zubimendi, are aggressive without the ball and comfortable winning it back high up the pitch. Opponents used to look for the softer midfielder to isolate and attack. That player doesn't really exist in this group.
For me, just enhances that, and I feel like we're gonna see like a different Arsenal. I think this...
And the rotation benefit shows up again here too, just at a bigger scale. With 5 players at this level across midfield, Arteta can manage fatigue across an entire season. That includes Champions League football. And he can do it without the team ever feeling like it's dropped a level. That's the part that should worry everyone else in the league, not just this signing on its own, but what it means once the whole thing is actually running together on the pitch. This isn't Arsenal just trying to hold on to what they won. It's a message. They're telling the rest of the league the gap at the top isn't staying the same. It's getting bigger. Every club chasing them now has to find a weakness in a midfield that doesn't really have one. And that changes how they plan for these games months in advance. Somewhere up in Newcastle, fans are going to watch their captain walk out in a different shirt, built to dominate the exact league he just left behind.